I mean, there's still some issues, there's modeling done, there's still some issues that we have to resolve before we can get to an agreement. We still have to get signatures on an agreement. We're not prepared today to say that, you know, we're going to extend the voluntary program. As of right now, the letter we sent, we said we are planning on reducing releases on October 10th to the Rev 1 rates. I think we're close to getting to an agreement. I think it's important that the parties all work together to get through the processes so that we can actually have an agreement in place by that time. So I think we're close. You know, as we get close, you know, as the next week, I hope we're able to say that we are there. And but I can't say that today.
We each have individual interests that our states or what we are charged with doing. For example, the gentleman earlier asked how many of us had visited the Upper Basin. And many of us raised our hands. I would ask you, how many of you have written a letter to a congressman or somebody saying that you think and feel very strongly that sea level rise should be incorporated in the management of flows in the Delaware River? How many? One person? All right, that's good. But the point is, that's something very important to lower basin state. It's all we hear about in the emails that come flooding to me are about the fish and the temperatures and things in the upper basin. So I would just implore you to consider that this is a holistic basin management. The Supreme Court said it that way. They gave us all an equal voice. They gave us all the ability to voice our concerns and negotiate those. And it's not just about a couple of esoteric issues that some people seem to think it is.
And we also expressed at that time, in 2008, and we discussed it as a member of the Flood Hazard Mitigation Task Force, years later, expressed concern that by putting in place these voids, increasingly, potentially over time, we were going to give people a false sense of security, right? Because a lot of people were looking to these reservoirs as the be-all, end-all solution for reducing flood damages, or blaming the reservoirs for the cause of their flooding. And so if you then say, well, if we're going to put in voids so your problem's solved, then there's no reason to find a real solution for addressing flood damages as you go down the river system. And I think that our concern has really been borne out. Since those 10% voids were put in place, we have seen no effort or activity to find other real meaningful solutions to give permanent, complete protection from flood damages going on in time. And in fact, what we have seen, which was also our concern, is that there has been new development and redevelopment and expanding development and additional activities allowed in the floodplain that actually makes future flooding and flood damages worse, right? So you not only invest in solutions to reduce flood damages, but you're not taking actions to prevent putting more people in the path of harm.
The ecosystem is much more complex than just those tailwater fisheries. In addition, we have federally endangered species, both in the upper basin with the dwarf wedge mussels, and as we've been discussing, down basin. In the Delaware estuary, we have federally endangered Atlantic sturgeon and federally endangered short-nosed sturgeon. So the impacts may be varied to federally listed species. In addition, we have native fishes, such as American shad, that can be affected by these release programs, and which continue to struggle to recover despite many efforts to bring these species back. Importantly, all of these species that I'm talking about have in part been modeled with a decision support system that RFAC has supported in past years and which was key to the first implementation of the first FFMP. There's a tool available to be used, and it can and should be used in evaluating the effects of a revised program. So we encourage you, and Brendan, you did highlight the idea that some of the studies that are involved include looking at dwarf wedge mussel. I think a broader ecological focus would be important.